I was like, I need something that I could shorten to that has like a fire nickname. So Cardi.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, all right,
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna just go with Cvrtier.
Oh yeah.
So I was doing music in the early like 20, I want to say 2016 to 2018, early
That's when you
2018.
started?
Yeah. So that's when I started like dropping like independent and stuff like that. I was trash. I was
Were
trash.
you making? Did you always start with drill? Or
So no, actually, I hated drill. Like
really,
growing up, I didn't
really?
listen to G Herbo. I didn't listen to
Damn.
Dirk for real. I didn't. I actually,
Vaughn?
I did always like Dirk. I always like Chief
Okay.
Keef, but like, I did not like drill. Like, I was like, I don't
Really?
want to listen to all the shoot 'em up, bang bang
Yeah,
shit like
yeah,
all the time. Like, shit was like, I don't know. It wasn't for me.
yeah.
I was always like a Drake fan, Kendrick fan, like
Okay.
a lot of like the softer like artists and stuff
Yeah.
like that, or like mainstream artists. But so I got into sexy drill because when Drake, so this is before I knew about like sexy drill and like
Yeah,
Charlie and
yeah.
Cash
Well, it
Cobain and
was
all those
still
guys.
like in the
Yeah,
midst of being
yeah,
created
like
too.
it was still fresh because like it didn't like they didn't start dropping like actual like sexy drill tracks or even have a name for it till like 2021 into
Yeah, that's what
2022.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
So like when Drake dropped For All the Dogs, I think it's the third or fourth track, Calling for You. I
Mm-hmm.
heard the beat and I was like, oh, this shit is hard. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is fire. And then I liked how like, you know, how his delivery was on the song.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, like I want to make music like that. Like that's exactly what I want to do. And at the time, like when that came out, I was listening to like heavy like new jazz. Like I was listening to Hako. He's one of my favorite new jazz
Mm.
artists.
Do you know
Um,
Kira?
no.
No.
So the only two people I know that do like new jazz for real are
Mm.
like Hako and Lil Tecca. And I didn't
Okay.
even know Tecca does new jazz. Like
Yeah.
I just heard like one of his songs for the first time recently.
Mm-hmm.
But Hako, I was listening to him heavy and kind of dabbling in that. And I suggested to my boy Dropkick Cardi that he should do that just because of his sound. And he was like, nah, bro, like I feel like you should try it. So I
Mm.
did, was messing with that for a while, and then that album dropped with Drake, and then I heard that, and I was like, yo, like I want to do this.
That's
So
crazy that Drake was the
yeah,
drill
kind of like the
influence because
catalyst.
I
Yeah,
would never
but I didn't
associate
know.
Drake with drill.
I literally didn't know
Mm.
that that was a Cash Cobain beat. Like he took his tag out. His
Yeah,
tag is not on that song. So I was
that's
like,
Drake
okay.
ass. Yeah, Drake
And
had
then I
to.
heard right after that, I heard "Swag It" by Charlie. Like it
Mm.
started. It was already blown up, but then it started reaching me. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, this song is hard. Like if this is what I was
Yeah.
like, these are similar beats. I was like, if this is what they're talking about, started listening to more of the albums and like more of the projects and all the singles and stuff. I was like,
Mm.
yeah, like this is what I want to do. Like
Fire.
I don't want to. I'm not this like hood ass gangster kid. Like I did grow
Mm.
up in the streets. I
Mm.
did grow up in the hood, but like I'm not
From
down with
Spring,
those.
you
Yeah,
grew
I
up
grew up in
in
Springfield.
Springfield.
Yeah,
Were you born in Springfield?
yeah, born and raised. So
Okay.
I left when I was 16 and a half, turning 17. And then I moved to Valdosta, Georgia. I lived out there for about, I want to say 5.5 years with my dad. Off and on, I was moving around. I've had my own crib like twice. And then I moved to Florida with my son's mom for about, I want to say a year, almost two.
Okay.
And then I moved with my mom, my adopted mom, out in Palm Coast, Florida. So I was out there for about 2 years.
How was that like cultural and musical difference between like being in Springfield, like Western Mass music, and being in Georgia or Florida? Like, what were the main differences that you noticed?
So the biggest difference is like everything out here is so secular. Everybody has their cliques. Everybody has who they rock with. Platforms have who they would much rather have on their platform versus a up and coming artist or a different kind of artist. Like it's very secular, and the support is kind of, if you have the love, be grateful you got it,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people out here that are great at what they do or growing and up and coming, and they're not getting any love. Down south, it doesn't matter if you're the most hated or the most liked person, everybody's always paying attention to what you're doing. So it's a lot more easier to build up a following. It's a lot more easier to get views. It's a lot more easy to get shares. It's a lot more easy to reach and touch people because everybody's always paying attention to everybody. And it's not
Mm.
more so people are in your business, but they're watching.
Yeah.
And then I also feel like even though like Springfield and Western Mass is small, everything out there feels like more in reach. So like
Mm.
where I lived out in Palm Coast, Orlando's 50, 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is exactly 50 minutes away. Miami is 3.5 hours away.
That ain't bad.
Um, and like St. Augustine is there. You got Daytona that's like 25 minutes,
Mm.
really, because everybody drives crazy down there. It's
Yeah.
like 10, 15 minutes down the road. So it's like everything is right there. And then Georgia, where I lived, Atlanta was about 2 hours. So
Okay.
everything is always within reach if you're ready to get up and go.
Mm.
So it's easy to go out, get to these like different platforms and these different outreaches and do what you have to do and to be seen.
Did you get to perform at all while you were out there, or you really
So I
you hadn't been releasing
perform,
music yet?
yeah. So I wasn't really dropping music like I was dropping music like that, but not like how I am now. It wasn't like planned. It wasn't like rollouts. It wasn't like
Mm.
I wasn't investing so much into it.
Okay.
I performed once at a cultural fest called the Gulf Coast Culture Fest out in Pensacola, I want to say.
Okay.
Or I was the opener, surprise opener, because I was actually supposed to go second in the lineup because they had a bunch of different performances, but the first performer actually canceled.
Damn.
So they were like, "Yeah, bro, I'm not gonna lie, you have to open." I
Yeah.
was like, "This is the first time I ever had to perform." I was so
First time
nervous, like,
performing ever.
yeah, like, and
Damn.
the video's probably not up no more, but if you could see the video, right, if you watch it, I literally have my eyes closed. Like in the first, like maybe like 30 to 45 seconds of my song, I have my eyes closed because I'm just
Mm.
focusing on the lyrics.
Yeah.
Then I started feeling it. I opened my eyes, and then my son's mom was in the crowd recording for me. I just looked at her the whole time, and I was able to get like comfortable and calm
Nice.
down and do
Nice.
what I had to do.
And have you performed since?
So I performed at what was that club? They just closed it down. It was a bar.
Out
Uh,
here?
no, it was in Chicopee. I think it was called Vibes. Yeah, it was like
Vibes.
Vibes or something like that. I
Okay.
performed out there, and then I performed at me and my boys spot. Gosh, slipping my mind. It's a billiards place by the
Nathan
Eastfield
Bills?
Mall. No, it's a pool place, a pool hall. It's like
Interesting.
maybe like 3 minutes up from where the Eastfield Mall used to be.
Okay.
Snookers. Yeah.
Snookers.
So
Okay.
Snookers has a open mic night the first Tuesday of every month now. Whether you're a comedian, a poet, you write, whatever you do, if it can be performed on a mic, you can go there on a Tuesday of the first Tuesday of every month and go perform.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's
so
dope.
I
There needs to
perform
be
there.
spaces like that
Yeah,
for
there has to be a lot more platforms for people to get out there and like do what they do. Because I feel like everybody has this general consensus of Springfield and Western Mass, you have to leave in order to make it. But my view and my perspective is completely different because I feel like for almost 10 years I sat on the sidelines and watched what was being built here. There's potential. It's there. It's still there even now that I'm back. And I feel like my mission coming back and moving back here was to just carve out my own lane and do what I have to do to get my spot and my shine because I've kind of watched people come and go. I've watched people come, stay where they're at, and I feel like I've learned enough from watching everybody from the side on what to do to get what I need to get done.
Oh yeah. All right, we're here with Cartier,
So,
aka the sexiest driller.
Sexiest Driller vibe.
Born and raised Springfield,
Yes,
Mass.
sir.
Love that. Real Western Mass shit. You want to give us a description on how you got your name?
So, my name is literally just a shortened version of my first rapper name, which is J Cartier. And I switched the name because when I first started dropping music as J Cartier, there was another, actually was a bunch of artists named J Cartier, but there was another artist that had been dropping music longer than me, and our music would always get like swapped up on each other's
Oh
pages.
damn.
And then I think in 2021, like during COVID or right after COVID, YouTube did this merger thing to merge everybody's pages into one. Like it was an accident,
Yeah.
but like I get why they did it. It was to help try to like weed out and get everybody's stuff where it needed to be. So me and his music ended up merging into one page. So I own the page, but all his
All
music
his
was on my page and I couldn't separate it. And I was writing Google 50 million times to
Yeah.
like, hey, like I need bro's stuff put on his,
Mhm.
this is mine. It wasn't working out. They never changed it, never got back to me. So I ended up being like, all right, I'm gonna let bro have that. I'm gonna just change my name to Cartier or Cartier, which however you want to pronounce it, and I just went from there.
And how'd you get the nickname the Sexiest Driller?
So I actually dubbed myself
All
that.
right,
That's
all
something
right,
I dubbed
fair.
myself that. I feel like it's a name that if I do it justice and do a due diligence, it'll stand out. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
So, okay, so I listened through to this upcoming project. Is there a name for the project?
So the upcoming project is called the After Party.
The After Party.
Yeah,
And that kind of goes with what you were saying about how you felt about your first
yeah,
album being the party
yeah,
album. And so this new project definitely feels like a new development, but still on the same like realm of
yeah.
things and musically. But it's got a good mix of like sexy drill definitely is the main influence, but there was some Jersey club, some like juke stuff. There was some R&B heavy influences. Can you speak about like what influences you or what first got you into music? Like what was your first inspiration?
So I've always been into like hip hop. Like my favorite artist all the time is Kendrick. I like IDK.
I love IDK, man.
Yeah, he's
He's tough.
fire.
He's tough.
He's fire. He doesn't get a lot of. He really doesn't get his flowers.
I
I feel
agree.
like he does from his like his fan base, but like from like major like outlets and media, he doesn't.
Bro, he
It's
be building
yeah.
for like all
That's
of his projects. Um, what's the one he dropped in 2020?
is he real?
Yes,
Yeah, that was the first album I heard
unbelievable.
by him, and I was like, bro, who is this dude?
Hmm.
I knew he was fire when, for the first time ever, if you really pay attention, when Madden and 2K does their soundtracks,
Hmm.
it's never the same artist on both games. He was the first person I noticed that was on both games in the same year,
Mm,
back to back. I was like,
shit.
oh, nah, this dude's hard.
Okay.
So definitely love him. I like Dirk and things like that.
I heard a Vaughn interpolation in one of the later tracks in this upcoming project. I don't know if you meant to do it, but you know that song I forget what the name of it is, but he's like, "Man, I don't even want to drill no more."
Oh
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about? There
yeah,
you have a bar there where I was like, I don't know if he meant to be
yeah.
interpolating, but
Nah,
it was tough. It was tough.
sometimes the art just like replicates itself. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
That album is this next album is really important to me. Like I said, I feel like that first album was like just straight party music. It did what it needed to do, but
Hmm.
I feel like I didn't give people like substance. There's some songs on there where it kind of peaks a little bit and it touches that, but I feel like this next album is not only me giving substance, it's me flexing my muscle, being able to give different genres. Because another thing that I heard a lot when I started doing sexy drill was that like it all sounds the same. Like this song sounds like this song sounds like that, these beats sound the same, it's this, it's that. So I was like, okay, what I need to do is I need to give people what my version of sexy drill sounds like. That's why I came up with the nickname the Sexiest Driller.
Mm.
I don't want to be doing what the my predecessors are doing, like Cash and Chow and Lonnie Love and Vontae and all those dudes. I want to do my own thing. I want to carve out my own lane. So this next album definitely has, like we talked about, different genres of music in it. It ends with a completely different song that I've ever done before. Kari actually had to force me to do that song.
Really?
We were in the stew. He was like, "Bro, this is a workout I want to do with you. We're gonna listen to 5 different beats, no genre that you've ever done before. We're gonna pick maybe 2 beats. We're gonna do songs, and we're gonna see how it sounds at the end." And that song we came up with, he did some of the background vocals for it, and it actually came out good. It had to grow on me though. Like
That
at
was
first I was like, and then as I listened to it, I was like, yeah, nah, this is fine.
that was for sure one of my favorite songs from that
Yeah,
project,
I
and
love
it
it.
also it felt like the perfect outro
Yeah,
to the project. I felt like listening through in order, it was also very cohesive. Like I also have that feeling of like sometimes sexy drill gets it sounds all the same, and
oversaturated.
especially in an album form, it doesn't feel like there's like a storyline or a world being built. It feels like it's just a bunch of tracks
Yeah,
piled together. But this project definitely felt like there was like a array of things, and you really thought out, which tracks go where, and the outro perfectly like brought everything together to
yeah.
me. So where do you get most of your beats?
So I'm a YouTube guy. I'm
YouTube?
on YouTube all day. I don't watch TV. I don't really stream or anything like that. I play games, but I actually sold my Xbox like 4 months ago
Okay.
because I just wanted more time to work on things that I find important. So like now, if I'm not at the gym, if I'm not at work, if I'm not spending time with family, if I'm not hustling and making money, I'm literally just on YouTube all day. I have all my notifications on every time a beat gets dropped by like one of my favorite
Okay.
producers. Like shout out to Fexy 4 Beats. Dude is tough. He does a lot of new jazz.
Say that one more time.
Fexy 4 Beats.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I listen to beats all day, every day. I'll be in the car. My writing process is pretty dangerous.
I was gonna ask,
I'm not
so
gonna lie.
because everyone has their own, like, especially when like you have that initial inspiration to
Mhm.
put down an idea. I know people that use their notes app and write out the lyrics. I know people that use the voice memos and just do that. Some people just freestyle over shit. How do you start, like, when you have an idea, how do you get it down as quick as possible?
So I write my best lyrics or start my best lyrics when I am in the car driving. As horrible as that sounds.
While you're driving.
Yeah, I'm literally I'll listen to a beat, have a bar pop into my head, pause it, switch to the notes app if I'm on my GPS or if I'm on YouTube, and like write it down as quick as possible
Hey,
before I
yo,
crash.
hey, yo.
I definitely do that a lot. It's very dangerous, but that's how my first album really came together. Like I really was like listening to these beats and like listening to my other musical influences and like just piecing everything together. I kind of did the same thing with this album, but I had a completely different process. There was different things that I did.
How long does it take from like the first start of the idea to the final product for you? Like, when do you know that the song's done?
So it varies for me. So like my literal recording process, once writing is essentially done or at least halfway done or started, I like to I'll be in my room because I use BandLab. A lot of people don't like BandLab, but
Shout out
I feel like
VanLab.
I cracked the code. I feel like I cracked the code, at least for me.
Mm,
Um, I will literally do everything right there and then. So I'm writing my hook, I'm writing my verses, I'm recording, punching in, punching out if I have to, and then I always, when I know something's a hit in the middle of recording, I get that feeling like I already know this is a hit. So I finish it, master it. I have a Bluetooth like monitor system in my room. I'll throw it on there, listen for inconsistencies or whatever I need to listen for. Take it off of that. I'll go in my car, turn up the stereo, listen to it. If it passes that 3-step process, because I also listen to it in my headphones, obviously.
yep.
Passes that 3-step process, we're good. We got a song. It's done.
And
And
it's
usually it takes about, it depends. If it's a hit and I really, really want it to be good and I feel like I need to make sure it's straight, it could be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. If it's a hit and I know I did my due diligence and the first like master process is straight, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah, I'll
damn.
quick with it.
That's real quick. So how long did it take you to finish this upcoming project? Like, how long was that?
It's been maybe 4 or 5 months from
Okay.
the very first song, which would be actually the outro. We did that.
That
We
was
did
the
that
first song.
exercise. Yeah,
Wow.
we did that exercise back in I want to say October. Yeah, back in October. So
Okay.
it's about 4 or 5 months. And then the other songs I did like in a rush throughout November, December. I started taking a little break from music at the end of December because I had like a bunch of crazy stuff going on. I got into a bad car accident.
Yeah.
My girl's grandmother passed, so I had to give her a lot of support with that. I had other crazy stuff going on. Took a long break. Came back, felt inspired to do a project. Um, talked to some of my peers about what I should do and stuff like that, and brainstormed ideas, and then just started going from there. Like once I'm in a flow state, all the music just comes quick. It's just
Mm.
about finding the right beat, the right vibe.
And you record everything at your home studio?
So I record everything anywhere. My
Anywhere.
Yeah, because BandLab's so interchangeable
Mm-hmm.
and so accessible. Like I'll I'm not gonna lie, I'll be at work. If I have a song I'm working on that I started before I left the crib or the night before,
Yeah.
and I'm at work and we got downtime, I'll go in the bathroom real quick and literally just throw a bar in there real quick.
What do you use your Apple
Yeah,
headphones
I use my Apple headphones
for everything?
for everything, and it comes out
It's
fire.
the production is great,
I
like
appreciate
really
that.
great,
I
and
work I work really hard on it.
yeah, I would have never expected Apple headphones for real.
A lot of people are really shocked and don't believe me when I tell them that like I literally my first album and this next album I did completely on my phone except for the outro. The outro on my album was done in studio. And
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really not comfortable in a studio as weird as it sounds.
Mm,
And I feel like that just comes from a place where when I first started dropping music, I always was looking into studio time. I was working at like McDonald's 9 to 5. I didn't have a lot of bread. I was getting like 300, maybe on a good week, $400 checks.
mhm.
Studio time, people were trying to charge like $300. I'm like, well, I gotta make sure I got enough for insurance and
Yeah.
gas and this. I'm like, well, I can't afford that. Bought a laptop, shitty laptop. Bought a mic. Started doing it. Trying to learn how to produce myself on Audacity.
On
Yeah,
Audacity.
Audacity. That's where I started.
Wow.
And then went from there. I never ever went into a studio at all. I just kept either upgrading the equipment, investing into myself until the point where I found BandLab,
Mhm.
or I would just I just wasn't gonna do music. It was one of those things. And my dad would always tell me when I was living with him, like, you can't wait on nobody to help you. You can't really depend on nobody to help you. You got to do it yourself. So I'm always a do it myself kind of guy.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's always interesting to collaborate with people, but it's also important to be able to have that drive on your own
Yeah.
to go do it yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. But in terms of collaboration, you do have two features on this project.
So far. Yeah.
You wanna speak on who those people are to you and what they
So
did on the project?
so I got Dropkick Kari on the outro. He's doing the background vocals, but I still wanted to give him the nod and the credit because he literally forced that song out of me.
Mhm.
Um, and then I got Note, which is Noah Kanini. He's a photographer. He's also my cousin. He is on a song on there called X, and that was a crazy song.
That was the song with the what I thought was the King Von interpolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and him, the way we did that song was I started it on BandLab, I sent it to him, and then he cause he actually invested into a home studio. He put his preset on there, busted it out, sent it back to me, and I was like, bro, like this sounds crazy. Like this
Word.
is good. Like we gotta do this. Right now we're kind of in a little process where he feels like he can mix it better, but I'm like, bro, the song is good how it is. Like
Mm.
I feel like when it comes to an album, you don't have to do too much on every single song. You can
Yeah.
give just the not the basic, but the basis of the song.
I think also people get really stuck in the production end of things
Mm-hmm.
where I know artists that have been like have had all the songs done
Yeah.
for a year but have been working on the mix or the master
Yep.
or whatever. And sometimes to also I heard this from Rick Rubin. He said once you're ready to play it for your homies, it's ready to release. Because if you feel like it's good enough to show people, then it's good enough for everybody to see. And I think there's maybe some like levels to that for sure. Obviously, some people are more ready to share than others, but I think you need to like especially with artists, people overthink the actual final product
Definitely.
and like the song will speak for itself if it's good energy and it's got a good vibe to it.
I agree.
Um, okay, let's see. What were you listening to? What were your parents playing for you when you were growing up? Like, what did you? Was it? And it was like I there's a lot of R&B influence for you listening to R&B as a kid.
So my mom played a lot of like Sade and
Mm,
like all like the popular like early 2000s, late 90s like R&B, like,
okay.
but definitely a lot of Sade. Like that's off the rip automatically. I know that voice. I her and then Amy Winehouse, like
Amy
one and
Winehouse,
two. I
word.
like off the rip. I can't even really think about nobody else because she just overly played those two artists just back to back to back. Um, so I definitely have a lot of R&B influence, but I like to classify myself as a new school R&B guy. Like I don't
Mm,
really. care for like old school R&B like that, I definitely give it its flowers because it obviously helped create what R&B sounds like today.
Mm.
But I'm more of a new school guy. Like I like listening to Bryson Tiller. I like Black. I like
What
Chris
happened to
Brown.
Black, bro? I haven't seen him in
Black,
grips.
I feel like he's still doing his thing, but he doesn't drop as consistently with enough like marketing.
Mm,
I feel like he came out, got the spotlight on him,
mm,
and then took what he needed from that, and then went into his own lane.
mm.
And I feel like a lot of artists are okay with that. When you have a cult following, you're straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You'll make your
absolutely.
money. You'll do your shows. You'll get your nods from major artists that consistently stay in the spotlight.
Mm.
But I feel like Black was a great enough artist to stay at the top, and I feel like again he's another artist that doesn't get his flowers like
Yeah, agreed. And you just mentioned like his marketing
that.
strategy. So, it's so interesting that like the business side of music is really such a different side than like the creation side of music.
It is.
Do you want to speak on like your relationship to the business side?
Oof. Oh man. So I am definitely a businessman. I've had the opportunity to start, fail, and learn on how to run a business. I actually got to shout out Dropkick Kari for this because he actually went to school for business, and I've gotten a lot of gems from him. I've gotten a lot of gems from other mentors, and my like relationship with it is it's love and hate. I definitely believe that when it comes to music and business, you have to give your due diligence to both. Sure, there's that every once in a blue moon, diamond in the rough person that comes out with just a song so hard it can't be denied,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very few and far between. And proof of that is, for instance, like the whole Drake and Kendrick thing. Drake isn't rocking with the people that distribute his music to DSPs.
Mm-hmm.
His music is suffering from it. His music, the aura, the old Drake we knew, it's suffering from it. Like I don't care if you like that last album or not.
Yeah.
I personally thought it was trash. Um, but if you really look at it, that album isn't getting the same reach that it would have 10 years ago.
Well, which was the album? What is Scorpion
Yeah,
got pushed by Spotify specifically
hard, hard.
hard to the point where anybody on Spotify would have at least seen that project
Yep.
at some point when it came out.
Even to the point where if you were listening to
Anything.
Spanish music,
Yeah, dead ass.
the next song is a Drake song, you
Mm-hmm.
know, which is it's insane. And then they're doing that now for Kendrick, and a lot of people are calling it like foul play and this and that and stuff. But no, at the end of the day, companies and again the business aspect of it is so important. If you're in good graces, you're gonna get your music heard. You're gonna get
Yeah. And it's a little unfortunate that nowadays, especially with there being so many artists and
seen.
like so much music getting released every single day, that you know, an artist does kind of have to be, unless they have a team, which is not always the easiest
Yeah,
thing to
it's
do.
not.
You gotta do everything. You gotta make the music. You gotta mix and master. You gotta record yourself. You gotta release the song yourself.
Hmm.
You gotta promote it. You gotta get a video done. You gotta do interviews. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a lot, and so I think it's something that every artist kind of deals with in their own right. But it's also just as important as the creation of the music,
yeah, it
unfortunately,
definitely is.
nowadays.
It definitely.
Yeah.
And that's also something that I'm like going through personally myself now. Like with my first album, I put it out there. I put it out. I had so many different struggles. Like for instance, I have a song on my first album called Move, and that was supposed to be the lead single actually off of the album. I had a video plan for it. I was gonna get choreography done because it's a TikTok bop. Like it's a
Okay.
Jersey Club song, but it's really like a TikTok song.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna pay people to do dances for it. Lost some money on that because the people that I tried to pay to do it with their views and stuff took the bread, never did the thing. I had my sister reach out to some people they were interested, never got back to her. Then the biggest problem I ran into was, and this is how me and Fexy actually created a business relationship, because he's from Ukraine and he's a young kid. I think Fexy is only 16, maybe 17.
Damn.
But he's a great producer. Uh, he sold the beat. to somebody, and I didn't buy it after I created the track. So whatever my window was to get that beat was gone. I reached out to him to buy it to get ready to release it, and literally he got back to me maybe like 2 or 3 days later, and he was like, "Yeah, bro. So I sold it." So I'm like, "Damn, okay. Do you know who bought the beat? So maybe I could hit them up and
Yeah.
get permission or throw a little bread because money talks,
Yeah.
and just figure it out from there." And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, dang, yo, you're a producer. You should have all your paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Straight.
Yeah.
Should be able to figure it out." And he was just like, "No." Couple days went by. Didn't hear back from him. I had got to the point where I'm like, all right, it's getting closer and closer to the time, like my deadline. I need to figure something else out. I need to either make a new song or repurpose a different song on that album to be the lead single. And again, I feel like to this day, had I did everything right, Moves would have actually probably got me on because that song, it's such a, you could dance to it, you could vibe to it. It's a rage song, it's a vibe song, it's everything. Great song. I love that song to death.
Is that your favorite song off that project?
No,
What's your favorite song?
I like WCW. I do, just because I feel like WCW is the reason why that album was successful. I literally, I dropped my album July 5th. So July 4th, end of the day, outside doing all the fireworks and stuff, and then
Hmm.
my album dropped. So I had ready to go promo.
Yeah.
But the following Wednesday, I tagged every single fine female I know from here to Florida,
Word.
and they all reposted the song. So every girl that I named in a hook reposted it. Every girl that I knew reposted it. So everybody was like, "Oh crap! Like this dude made this song and it actually sounds good and everything like that." And there's a process to that too. I actually DM'd every single girl I named in the hook months in advance to make
Really?
sure that the song was good to go
Yeah.
because I didn't want to step on nobody's toes. Some of these
Mhm.
girls have boyfriends or had boyfriends at the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That song definitely was the reason why that album was successful. I think looking back, my favorite song off the entire project would have to be Soul Eater, which is the intro.
Okay.
I love that song because if you listen to Soul Eater, it doesn't sound like other Sexy Drill songs. Like the intro is like an anime intro. It's like a dark vibe, and then I go into it just smooth, smooth, and it rides all the way through to the end, and it sounds great.
Do you still like after you release your projects, do you still listen to your own music?
I do. I do very frequently. There's some days, even on the way here, I listen to like all my music, just my album, all my EPs and everything like that. I listen to the upcoming album. There's days that I'm feeling me, and there's days that I'd rather listen to other stuff. But I still do try to go back and reappreciate my body of work. I always try to do that,
That's important.
and I
What's
get paid off my plate, so
Yeah, facts. Go stream.
yes, sir.
So what's your favorite song off this upcoming project then?
So right now, I've been playing out X with me and my cousin. Um, Maddie's interlude is probably my favorite song just because of what I'm talking about on it and like the way I'm coming to the person I'm speaking to. Yeah, it'd probably have to be either Maddie's interlude, but for the longest, Pretty, which is
Mm-hmm.
gonna be the lead single, that was my favorite song because it was the first song that I did that was like really, really different from how I did Sexy Drill in the beginning when I dropped Sorry She Outside.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Which number track is that?
so Pretty is number two.
Number two. What's the third track?
The third track is the New Orleans bounce song. It's
Yeah,
called Beautiful.
that's a great
So they're
track as
back to
well.
back. They're back to
Yeah.
back.
I think my favorite is probably the last track, which is what's it
It's
called?
called Time Today.
Time Today. I really liked O as well.
Oh well,
The
yeah,
beat is
it's so
tough.
hard.
The
It's so
beat is
hard. Yeah.
tough. And yeah, no, I really enjoyed the whole project. And when do you have a release date for it yet?
So I'm hoping to drop March 14th,
Okay.
pending how Saturday goes with the shoot. Want to drop March 14th because I absolutely, absolutely need to get these pictures ready for the promo because I have a crazy, crazy. I don't want to say idea because it's already. I've done my research. I know exactly what I want to do, It's just if it gets executed correctly, which I'm not gonna reveal that yet. People are gonna see when I drop it.
All right.
I have to get that video and the photo shoot done. I have to.
What do you use to release your music?
So I'm a DistroKid guy. I used
DistroKid.
to like United Masters, but they changed so much on United Masters. Like, for instance, I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those dudes where if I got to, I'm gonna drop the project before I buy the lease, and I'll buy the lease after. Like, just sometimes you just gotta. If you got something that's hard,
Yeah.
sue me later, bro. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa,
We'll
we'll
figure
figure
it
it out. I'm gonna get you right. Yo. I don't like
out.
stealing. I do not believe in stealing beats, guys. I really don't. These producers work just as hard as we do, and just as hard as any normal 9 to 5 person does. So please, if you steal beats, get those people right.
Facts.
So United Masters is now at the point where you cannot drop unless you have a lease contract for each and every track you have. So if you're doing 20 songs, there got to be 20 contracts. Some of these producers, you cash out them, you're good. They don't care.
They don't give you a like no form or nothing?
No. So to touch back on the Move situation with that song, what me and Fexy ended up doing, because obviously Move is out, I haven't got copywritten for it. He actually hit me back a month later and said, "Hey, bro, I see you've been working hard, and I kind of felt bad about the situation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm the original creator. At the end of the day, whether I sold the beat or not, I'm gonna take the beat, change it up, nothing too significant, and if anything happens, if you get copywritten, if you get a letter in the mail about court, this, that, and the third, send it to me. I'll handle it, and like we'll go from there. Because at the end of the day, again, he's the original creator. He just made a similar beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not much. Whoever did that song, I actually can't even find the original song that got released with that beat. I don't even think the people put it out. So
Really?
if you search up that beat on whatever system, my song is what's registered to it. So, which is a good thing.
Word.
Ended up working out.
Oh yeah. And it sounds like you've got a good relationship with him now
Yeah,
as well.
we I haven't talked to him a lot recently. But we do whenever we do connect, it's always good vibes. He's a good kid. He's a great
Oh
kid.
yeah. Yeah. Tell me about 4x4 because I don't really know what that is.
So 4x4 or 4x4, I don't know what they go by. I just know that it's a 4x4. So they're basically a different take on the live mic performance. What they do is they book a therapist and you go to their setting and there's couches. The therapist sits across from you, and you literally perform whatever track that you set to be performed for the video. Major artists have done it, such as R2R Mo. Yanni Dior just did one, and then recently Jim Jones actually just dropped his today.
Today,
His
really?
video, yeah.
Oh shit.
So I'm literally gonna be on the same couch as some of these major artists doing what I love to do. I'm really really excited for that. They're based out in Queens. They got about 16K followers, but their biggest videos have over 100,000 views. Like their top 3 pin videos have over 100,000. So I don't know if I'm gonna get those numbers, guys. Hoping, but I just want to be able to go on the platform and do it. It's been something that I've been interested in doing ever since last year when I dropped my first album. Just again, bread, timing, what I had going on didn't allow me to do that. So like I said, this time around, I wanted to do my due diligence with my sophomore project.
That's smart. How did you get connected with them originally?
So originally, and if you're any of my peers, they can agree. Even though I listen a lot to like Chow Lee and Cash Cobain, R2R Mo is, in my opinion, one of the best sexy drill genre artists because of how he does it. Like when I first heard him, I thought he was like a Atlanta guy. Like, and no, he's from New York. He
Yeah.
just sounds like he's from down south. Um, the way he does sexy drill is completely different from everybody else, and it sounds good. I actually was on his page one day, and he reposted his 4x4 performance, the first one he did, because I think he did 2 or 3. I was like, oh, this is a dope idea. Went to the page, checked out like a couple of their videos, seen their views. I went to their website, looked at the pricing. I was like, okay, this is something I could do. I just gotta plan it for the right time.
And did you DM them or you email them or?
So I went on the site, and then I ended up DMing them, and I got I think I have the main guy's number, the guy who runs everything, and we talked about everything, talked about what we could do, what we can't do, and got all the details. Ended up booking it, sent them the deposit for the bread. Booked my hotel out there, and yeah, I'm going out there next weekend.
Have you been to New York much?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot?
So since I moved up, I've been to New York probably like 10 times. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
I've been going to New York a lot more recently. I just came back from New York last weekend. We went to, do you know who Perry Mason is?
No, I
He's a
don't.
completely different genre of things. Um, but he had his first BYOB fest,
Mhm.
um, BYOBF. Be your own best friend. That's what it
Okay.
is. Yeah. But he sold out the Mercury Lounge
That's
with
dope.
a bunch of other artists. Young Wabo, Marika Sage. Young Wabo is actually Western Mass.
Really?
He I still not exactly sure. I know he's stayed out here for a while. He lives in Texas now.
Okay.
Um, but if you know Eags, or Ricky,
Mm. Now,
or
Perry
Wint.
Mason, I've heard the name before, but I'm not in.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But yeah, I went for that, and then we shot a music video out there as well. But there's just a lot of opportunity in New York. I feel like, and I could never live there personally.
Me either.
There's way too much going
Yeah,
on all
it's
the
always
time.
all the movement, and there's never no downtime. It kills
Never. And I'm sleeping on some tiny ass
me.
couch.
Yeah, in a studio apartment that you're
Yeah,
paying 5 bands
yeah.
for every week. Yeah, no,
hmm
I can't do it either.
But it's pretty close. It's 3.5 hour drive,
Yeah.
worth the
Two if you
drive.
take the pike. So
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I'm gonna tap in with that,
Yeah.
man. Have you done any shows out there or?
So no, what did I do the first time I went to New York? I want to say I went to I went out there to do something. I forget what I did, but I did go to New. Oh, so the first time I went to New York, ever since I moved back, I actually went to Drake's concert.
In New
I went
York?
to the New York tour date, the second one. So that was the one that J. Cole actually wasn't at because he was finishing the Might Delete It Later album.
Okay.
So Drake actually flew out Sexy Red from Miami on his jet for her to take his spot. So I got to see Dirk, Drake,
Shit.
Sexy Red. I
Well,
seen
this
his
was
mom.
2022,
This was
2021.
last year, 2024.
Oh,
Yeah, it
2024.
was in
Oh shit.
April. It was in
Oh,
April.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
that makes
actually,
yeah, that
yeah,
makes yeah.
I actually got to see him live. It was a pretty cool performance. Like the whole thing. I like seeing Derek because Derek is one of my favorite drill artists. Sexy Red was actually a very surprisingly great performer. Like she had me in tune with her from start to finish. It was really great energy,
Mm,
great vibes and everything like that. It wasn't what I would expect out of her.
mm.
So she was taught well how to perform. Um, Drake had a lot of theatrics with his,
Yeah, I'm sure.
but it was a vibe. It was an overall vibe.
Have you been to any like underground artist showcase or anything like that in New York?
So
There's a lot of
no,
that. There's a
I
lot
can.
of
The
that.
only thing I could say that I've been to that was even close to that. So second time I went to New York was for the Play Cash Cobain concert,
Mm,
and a lot of the his artists on his label or his group or whatever were the early performers and openers, and I learned who D-Lou was, which is I don't know if you guys watch Black Boy Max or his streams. Pink Dreads, that's
yeah.
D-Lou. He's Slizzy. He's Slizzy. All right. I actually just found that out. I'm like, oh, this is the same person. I didn't
Word.
know that. Him and the rest of those guys, I was out there listening to them. So I was like some of the first time that I got to listen to other artists in the sexy drill genre. Then I think Diddy's son was there.
Hey yo, hey yo, roll the tape. Cut that one.
And so was out there. Yeah, this guy's son was out there. And then obviously Charlie, I think Bass Swag. I missed Bass Swag. But Vontae was out there. All those guys are out there. So
Alright.
it was an epic concert.
What do you, as deviating a bit away, but kind of more back onto the sexy drill vibe? What do you think the future of sexy drill looks like, and how do you try to push the boundaries of sexy drill?
So I feel like it's here to stay. I feel like Cash Cobain and like these guys have done enough to make it a mainstay because I feel like last year was the year where people were like, all right, is this gonna come and go? Because it's really hot in the summer. when it gets to winter, is it gonna just fall off and not be anything no more? People aren't gonna play it in the club. But even to this day, I don't go out as much as I used to last year. But every time I pop in the club once in a blue moon, I'm still hearing some of these songs from 2020, 2022. I'm still hearing some of these songs from last year that were dropped that were really, really hot. It's still consistently in the mix. So I know it's a mainstay.
Mm.
For me personally, I feel like what I have to do in order to push the boundary is to basically do what I'm about to do on this next album, is kind of like create a subgenre of
Mm.
sorts, but give people a different feel of it. Because if everybody sounds the same and these guys are continuing to be the forerunners and nobody else is coming out that's new, that's giving it a fresh take, it'll fall off. It'll become oversaturated. So
Yeah,
I feel like, again, I'm doing my due diligence to the sound in my own kind of
I agree. I definitely agree. I think your mix of like the Jersey Club, like we said, and R&B, heavy R&B influence, and also like we were talking about too with that last song with Time Today.
way.
Um, that's like the way to grow as an artist and to find new like subgenres
Hmm.
and new vibes is to push yourself into things that you don't necessarily want to do or you didn't
Yeah, I
think would
definitely
work.
wasn't comfortable.
And right, exactly, but that's
Yeah,
the way you grow as an artist, and that's the way you discover new vibes and new energies and new sounds. And so I'm excited for this project to release, but I'm also now, especially listening to that last song, I'm curious to see what the project after that will be like too.
that summer
Hopefully,
project.
yeah.
All I could say is like, cause I have to come back and drop another summer project.
Hmm.
I am going to go nuts on that project. Now, I hate to say it, but it might not be like a very substance driven project, but I will say it's gonna be a memorable one
Mm.
because like I have to give it that punch. Like I gotta not only replicate what I did on my first album, but like take it to the next level.
Mm.
Like I have
I think with Time Today having that like guitar
to.
being such a mainstay in that song, I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think that would be a cool avenue of like exploration and trying to go into that.
Might throw in
You know
some
what I'm
sexy
saying?
driller
Yeah, yeah,
because
some guitar sexy drill. I don't really hear
I
that very much.
actually used to rap on like a lot of Gunna beats. And that was just
Mm,
because of where I was in Georgia and like Florida. Like that's how all the beats sound for the most part. I used to rap on a lot of guitar beats, and like it's crazy because for the few people that have the album or have heard the song, they think it's a country song,
I was gonna say there is some
country
country
influences in
element
it.
in
Yeah.
there for real. Yeah.
So I can't say it's a country song. If you guys feel like it's a country song when it comes out, then that's fine. It, to me, it's more pop, like
Mm,
soft pop.
hmm.
Yeah.
And there was also, I think it was the song or two before that, where it was like the beat was Jersey Club, but it was slow.
Hmm.
And I really like I don't hear much of that because I feel like that genre of things is much more like high energy, kind of like boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom,
So
boom, boom,
new
boom.
jazz actually does that a lot, and so
Yeah,
I love the new jazz genre because it's literally every genre of music just done in a specific style. So
yeah,
you could find Latino music in new jazz. You could find Brazilian funk, which I have to do a Brazilian funk song at some
yeah.
point. I've
I
been
love
talking about it
Brazilian
for
funk.
like 2 years. Love Brazilian funk. Honestly, I quote me on this because I promise you it's gonna happen. This year is the year that Brazilian funk is going to become a mainstay in the United States. Like that's gonna be
Agreed,
all over
agreed.
the clubs
It
this
was
year.
already popping last year, but it
Yeah.
just hasn't
But people,
gotten.
yeah, it wasn't hitting everybody's ears. I had been peeped. I had been
Mhm.
peeped, and I was like, all right, I need to set myself up for when this pops to get to where I need to be. But I'll focus on
Also,
other avenues.
drum and bass,
Yes.
drum and bass with hip hop
Hmm.
specifically. That's coming up right
Yeah.
now for real.
So you know you're in the right places when you start peeping the trend before the trend
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, for
So
sure.
I'm excited to see what the summer brings as far as like sound and everything like that.
Hmm. Okay, switching the topic slightly because we've been on the music thing, but I'm
Mhm.
curious to learn a little bit about you just as an individual outside of the artistry of things. What is your day to day like life look like? Like what do you do on a day to
So
day?
my day to day really lately. I work a lot. So I got a new job. I've been working there for like going on 3 months. Usually working like 12 to 8 or whatever. I'll listen to beats throughout the day. If I like catch something catches my ear, I'm writing throughout the day. I'll go home and record. Recently I've been spending a lot of time with my adopted brother and his wife and my niece and nephew because they're about to move back down to Florida. So I always try to make time for family.
That's
I'm usually
important.
never home. I'm always on the go. I'm always doing something. I'm not really in the clubs as much as I used to be. Because like I was like really, really huge in like Lucky's. Like literally, like Lucky's nickname is called Club Cardi. Like for real. Like just because I was in that club so much. I actually wrote, I wanna say 45% of Sorry She Outside was written inside of Lucky's. It wasn't recorded, but it was
Yeah,
written inside
yeah,
of Lucky's. Uh yeah, so it's really just work, and family time.
nice.
I definitely try to do my due diligence to spend time with like the people that are important to me, and I have a lot of people that I spent so much time from that I try to give my time to. One big thing that I actually learned coming from down south where everything is moving a lot slower, so your day it's 24 hours, but it feels like 48 hours down south.
Mm,
12 o'clock, that lunch feels like the last 2 to 3 hours. You have so much time to get whatever you need done. It's not really like a crazy lunch rush out there, so you can get through traffic if you need to, depending on where you live. It's completely different from how up here feels. Everything feels like it's just going quick, 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 and
mm,
legit. You probably have anywhere from 6.5 to 7 hours to get what you really need to get done on any given day.
mm,
And I feel like a lot of people do agree with me when I have that conversation with them.
mm.
Everything is always moving so fast up here.
In Western Mass specifically or
Up
East
here,
Coast?
period. Whether you go to New York, whether you're anywhere in the tri-state, whether you're in New England, I feel like everything moves fast. Like once you get past like Virginia, you start hitting like Philly, Jersey, and everything up here. Everything is
Yeah,
moving a lot faster till you get to the mountains.
yeah. You, what's your relationship to Western Mass specifically? Like, it's such a different environment here specifically. Like, there's just a lot of woods, a lot of farmland. I know Springfield is different
Yeah,
from.
it's a lot of
It,
state.
it definitely feels like a city for sure. Um, it's weird though. I found out Springfield has a population of like 110,000 people.
I didn't know that. That's
It's
crazy.
crazy because whenever you go there, it's big, like it's bigger than, Amherst or
Yeah,
like that feels like a town, but it feels somewhat deserted. Like there's not like mad heads. You're not seeing like people on the streets
yeah,
mobbing or anything.
yeah. No, it's
Um,
it's definitely that. My relationship. Oof, that's actually a great question. So it's weird. I feel like because I was gone for so long, I feel like I lost a lot of that like homey feel. Like I went to schools out there. I went to Dorman. I went to Margaret T.L.'s. I went to Kennedy. I went to Commerce in high school. I went to Duggan when they became a high school. I know almost everybody. You know what I mean? I've been in rallies. I've played sports. I've done stuff for people. I've given stuff to people and helped people out. But I honestly feel like I lost kind of like my connection with home being gone.
mm,
And I feel like one of my main missions coming back was to just regain what I lost. That's why my new day to day is spending time with the people I care about most. And even then, because time is so short, you never really have time. Time is not ours. It's of the essence, but it's not ours. I feel like I still don't get enough time to do that with people because everybody else has their own different lives. Um, so yeah, it's really hard to speak on what my relationship is, but
mm,
I do personally want to be not just a hometown hero. I want to be able to leave here again, grow, come back and show the city the proper love because again, like I spoke on earlier, there's so much potential in Springfield. The only issue and the biggest issue we have, and a lot of people can agree, everybody is so secular from each other. Like I literally, when I moved up, I spent 8 months low key. A lot of people didn't even know I was back. They would see me and be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why didn't you hit me up? And I'm like, bro, I came here focused on a mission. And I stacked and I stacked and I stacked and I popped out in the summer and everybody was just like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Mm.
This isn't the same kid that we knew when he left. This is a completely different person. There's a lot of people that hate me to this day because they still feel like, oh, he's this dude. I'll
Hmm.
always see him as this dude, but nah, I'm completely different. I've had the grace and the opportunity to leave, go to a different environment, allow that to grow and influence the man that I wanted to be and become that person as well. And I'm not also staying stagnant when I've reached that point. There's a new vision that I want to reach. And when I get there, I definitely have plans to come back and do some things. Like honestly, one of my biggest dreams, I want to perform at Mass Mutual. Like I want to
Mm.
shut it down,
Hmm.
have a couple artists come out and like perform at Mass Mutual and sell that place out. And that honestly, I could die after that. I'm good. I'm good.
That's beautiful, bro. That's great. Do you have a favorite place in Springfield? Like outside, maybe a like some type of restaurant or
So
anything like that?
I shout out to Noah. I love going to the MGM parking lot, and I literally have a spot on the fifth floor that I park at so I can see all of the downtown skyline. I don't park facing the Connecticut River. I park facing downtown, and I can see the entire skyline, and it's
Mm.
beautiful. I usually like to go to a rooftop, but they closed it for whatever reason. But that skyline, I have that specific spot. I go there to meditate. Sometimes I hit the casino, get a drink or two or whatever by myself, or if I'm with somebody. But
Hmm.
that spot is usually where I go to just vibe out and like just recenter myself as a person.
You meditate
Yeah, a lot.
a lot? How
Yeah.
how much?
So it really depends on what's going on in my life. If I feel overwhelmed for any situation, I try to separate myself from everything, from socials, from my phone, from anybody that's around me, and I just breathe, center myself in the universe, come back.
Mm. That's beautiful. And I think more meditation is really a key. And obviously, I think some people try to do it every day or
Mhm.
whatever, but you got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, and it's actually I feel like it's harder to meditate up here than it was when I lived in Florida.
Mm.
And that might have to do with the fact that I'm in a city versus a town and then like seasonal depression and stuff like that because where I live, the beach was 10 minutes from me.
Yeah.
I could get off of work. I used to work the night shift. I would get off at work at 7 in the morning. If I had a stressful night shift, I would literally drive right up to the beach, get out my car, and I can meet people from all different walks of life and watch
Mm.
the sun come up, listen to the waves, just chill and vibe. I've met millionaires. I've met people that were homeless but had a lot of like really great knowledge to share with me. I've met singers. I've met poets. I've met uh, athletes, different types of people out there. I've created friendships. I've created business like relationships and different things like that out there.
I think I think what you just said about interacting with people from all walks of life, I feel like that's something that's needed now more than ever for everybody because if you get stuck in your same circle of people that you're interacting with, or it's all location based and
Yeah,
everybody's in the same area or whatever, you get stuck to a certain point in your mind where you can't necessarily really think outside of the box or try to find a different perspective as
right.
much because you haven't experienced or even heard about others' perspectives. Um, and I think talking with people that are wildly different from you or have had completely different experiences is so important for everyone in like for the world, but also just for personal growth as well.
Definitely.
Do you have any like conversation or person that has really stood out to you as like they've inspired me in a certain way, even if it's not even just music related, but just like they really like said something to you that has stuck with you?
So just off the rip, because I could really sit here and think about it and give like something good, but time is of the essence.
Well, whatever came to
um,
your head first.
so Kari, and I'm so sorry if this is like revealing too much. Me and Kari have grew a lot, even though he's my cousin Noah's best friend. Me and him have spent a lot of time together. We're very similar, and we're two people where even if we have differences, we can agree to disagree and learn from each other. Kari recently went through something that I won't reveal too much about, and we had a conversation about it, and he took an entire growth journey to change and figure out what was wrong in the moment that he was going through what he was going through and change his life. And I feel like for somebody his age and the gems that he gave to me on his journey, we're still doing that to this day. What are some of the best conversations I've had with anybody in my life, because it's I feel like it's crazy to see somebody so young be so mature, even more mature than me, I have to say, and more mature than some of the older adults that I have in my life or know, to be able to recognize that about themselves, recognize that they're going through something, recognize that this is a point of his life that he's changing and he needs to gain control and steer it into a positive direction instead of a negative one or become stagnant. And it's honestly helped me out personally too, because there are times where I go through things, or I used to crash out or be emotional, and I had to learn that I can't always be like that. Like I'm 26. I can't afford to flip out, burn bridges, and do all this crazy stuff. I have to remain calm because I don't want to trick myself out my own spot. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Kari is definitely somebody that I love to conversate with and get gems from all the
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So you mentioned you're 26.
time. Yeah.
Was there a point, or what age do you think you had like a realization of like I need to get my shit together, or did you not have, or did you? I don't know. Not everybody has a crazy
So
20s, but
I
I'm
I didn't
curious.
mention, but I am a father.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
had my son when I was 23, and I feel like that was the moment where I was like, okay, I have something that is out here living, breathing, and
Mm,
I'm completely responsible for. So I have to get my life on track.
mm-hmm,
I already knew who I was as a person, knew who I was as a man, knew what my passions were, knew what I wanted to do in my life. But whatever drive I had before I had my son is not the same drive I had now. Now I'm willing to, and I've learned that sometimes you have to sacrifice stuff and important stuff to get to where you need to go in life. Like I have sacrificed time with family. I've sacrificed important opportunities. I've sacrificed money. I've sacrificed friendships. And I don't even want to say that in a sense of like I switched up on somebody, but there are probably some friendships in my life or bonds and relationships in my life that even though I dearly love that person, they weren't good for me. And I had to realize that I got to separate from you in order to grow, and you might not be able to go where I'm going.
mm-hmm,
And I'll be honest, there are still people in my life today that might not be able to go where I'm going, but they're gonna be somebody in life
mm-hmm,
with or without me, and I love them for that. And our relationship is what it is. So that's another piece of growth that I've had to do in my life. But definitely when I was 23 and had my son, I was like, yeah, I have to do something in this life
mm-hmm.
to set him up, because I named my son Legend. I have to set him up
Nice.
for a jump off point to live up to the name that I gave him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. That's great. Do you? Ah, how do I phrase this? Do you feel? Do you feel? Does your son inspire you to make music, or do you feel like you're able to um, inspire or motivate him to, or he's well, he's
he's
three
about
now,
three.
three
Yeah, he's
now,
three.
so he's still young. He's
Yeah,
still
still
okay.
really young.
Um, but how does that speak to your music? Did you feel like a change in what you were creating when that happened?
Definitely. But it wasn't just him. It was at the time when I was with his mom. She was one of those people where, and I feel like we've all had this person in life where she just was like unsupportive of what I was doing
Mm.
and how I did it. And then when I had him, I just felt motivated at the time to be more conscious with my music.
Mhm.
And I was able to take from that, being able to be in the moment and really get to the gist of what I'm talking about whenever I make a song. So even though I've definitely gone away from being more lyrical, um, he definitely inspires me to, at least on every single track I do or every single session I do, I have to burn something up. I have to give it my all. I have to, whether it's blacking out or just even relaxing and just giving whatever it needs to give on any given track. He inspires me every time to just remember, like, this song could be the one. This could be it. This could be the deal. This could be the song that blows. This could be the one that just breaks through the glass. Because I feel like we all have that glass ceiling that we're staring at, and we're like, all right, what am I going to throw up there to shatter that?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So he definitely is my biggest fan, my biggest drive. Like, my son knows my songs. I didn't.
Really?
It's so crazy. So last year I had him for the entire summer. And I remember there was a time where I was driving to like McDonald's after work to get him some food. And I played moves, funny enough. And this boy was in my back seat singing the hook word for word. And I'm like,
That's great.
you you know this song? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what? And my son was only 2 at the time. He's like so intelligent. He's huge for his age. And I'm just like, okay, So I'm like, okay, I must be doing something right. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome. Yeah. All right. I think we've any final words for the people? Any last shout outs maybe?
Man, so I do got a couple shout outs. Definitely to some artists that I believe deserve their flowers and deserve some shine, whether they're in tune with the platform or not. Want to shout out Quanda Don. I've already shouted out Dropkick Kari. Shout out to Noah, a.k.a. No. Shout out to Kenzo. Shout out to all the North boys. Yo, shout out to Rico. He's a producer. Jeez, man. Yo, shout out to Coney. Shout out to Coney. Shout out to Muda. Shout out to Davey,
Mm.
especially Davey. One thing I didn't touch on, Davey recorded my first song ever, and it
Damn.
took like 7 hours to do that song. I swear to God.
Oh, he was going through it that session
Yes, he
for
definitely
sure.
was, yo. Because I had been writing poetry throughout my life for so long. I had very, very excellent English teachers, like
Mhm.
really, really great. That's why I'm so good at what I do. That I didn't realize, when you make a song, you have to flow to the beat. I thought you just got in the booth. I swear to
Hey
God.
yo.
I thought you just got in the booth and just said whatever and it sounded good.
Uh.
Yeah, Lil Mahold. Yeah, that wasn't a vibes. Yo, we don't even have that song. There's no proof of
Really?
that song, but yeah,
Oh
he knows
man.
that story. And shout out to everybody that I rock with, whether your name is blinking on me right now. Yo, shout out to my girl, she's one of my biggest supporters. Shout out to my mom, my dad, my adopted mom. Shout out to my sisters. Shout out to the whole sexy committee, all you girls, my babies. I love y'all, and I really appreciate you for having me on the platform,
Absolutely.
man.
Thank you for coming, bro.
For sure.
All right. We're out.
Sir. Ooh.